Alan is an author and journalist. Alan, welcome to the programme. It's a bit of a bizarre situation. Just explain to us why it appears as if MPs don't actually want this ballot to be happening at all.
Well, the choice of an Italian president is a very baroque, very mysterious, very complicated procedure. It takes many days. There's one vote each day. There are 1,008 grand electors. They're members of parliament plus regional authorities. And they come together and they're supposed to agree on a president that will be above the politics, who will be above the daily left-right politics. Unfortunately, there's great confusion among Italy's politicians because Mario Draghi, who has been a great prime minister for the country, very strong for the economy, very good for Italy, is not really wanted at the presidency by the right-wing parties, by Silvio Berlusconi. They want to stop him and keep him as prime minister and find their own candidate, whereas some of the populists also don't want Draghi. So it's a very complicated situation because in one scenario, Draghi is elected later this week in a vote as president, but they have to form a new government, and that in Italy is always difficult. In the other scenario, Draghi stays on as prime minister, and they have to find somebody to put in over his head.
Okay, so it kind of almost becomes as if the MPs are worried about what would happen if Draghi were to become president because they wouldn't know what would happen with the next government. So it's an issue of actually who the next prime minister would be and how the process would move forward. It's true, isn't it? Since the Second World War, I think the average lifespan of an Italian government has been about 11 months or something like that.
11 months.
What is the big issue facing any potential prime minister if Draghi, who is, I think, the favourite to become president, were to become the head of state?
Well, Draghi, if he were head of state, would have a 7-year term and would be able to try to build upon his international success. He was chairman of the G20. He's done very well and is very respected now that Angela Merkel has left the German chancellorship. Perhaps Mario Draghi is the most respected statesman in Western Europe. Having said that, the challenge for Draghi, whether he's president or whether he stays on as prime minister, is that Italy is due to have new political elections by the spring of 2023. That's just over a year. And all the political parties are already maneuvering, trying to figure out what to do. So in that situation, you've got a lot of conflict, and the government could be weakened. And the key priorities for Italy are two. One, to fight the pandemic, which Draghi has been doing very well. And two, to bring forward the massive investment of over 200 billion euros of next-generation European funds to invest in new infrastructure, in digitalization, in the green economy. That's what could be at risk if there's political instability in Italy, the whole big European project.
Alan, we just saw a brief shot of Silvio Berlusconi, 85 years old now, not running for this position. Is that now the end of Berlusconi's time in Italian politics, do you think?
As his biographer, I can tell you, never write off Silvio Berlusconi. He can always bounce back. But let's say that at the age of 85, having been convicted years ago for tax fraud, having been a very controversial and divisive man, his latest attempt to dominate the public theater as a presidential candidate was not taken seriously by the Italians. He's gone. Let's hope that Berlusconi will now stay behind the scenes and try to exert his influence on his right-wing partners to have a more moderate and presentable candidate for the presidency. Right now in Italy and Rome, everything's up for grabs. We'll know more in about 3 or 4 days.
Alan, thank you so much. Really always fascinating to hear an expert talk about the maelstrom that is Italian politics. Take care. Alan Friedman.